A portion of this video is brought to you by ZBiotics. For more information about ZBiotics, visit the link in the description below or wait until the end of this video to hear more about them from me.
The big question is what prompted his MRI? So what symptoms were they concerned about? What particular type of MRI was performed? Was it a brain MRI?
You know how for several months I've been talking about the fact that Donald Trump likely isn't going to survive the next 12 months or so of this term. That's just my guess. I'm just taking a stab in the dark. I have no medical qualifications to make that assessment. I just see what I see, and based on the experience and the life I've lived, I make that call. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. But over the events of the last few days have led me to believe that maybe I am correct about that assessment. Donald Trump has now revealed to the press that he had a recent MRI. No transparency, no reason for it. He acts like it's a routine exam. That's not what MRIs are given for. I have MRIs on a regular basis because I'm a cancer survivor. I had colon cancer 3 years ago, and I'm still in the process of tapering down how many colonoscopies I have in a year and how many CAT scans or MRIs that I have. That's the normal course as a scan measure to make sure that the cancer doesn't come back. Why is Donald Trump having MRIs? That is the question. I have two clips for you. One is when he's talking about the MRI while acting like he's being so transparent and everybody has all the records. That's a total lie. It's total gaslighting on his part. And the other is a clip from Jonathan Reiner, who is a doctor, an MD, and he's a CNN contributor. And he was asked specifically about this. And what he says hits the nail right on the head. About transparency, about what we don't know. And there are so many questions about the health of the President of the United States, which, by the way, I always get comments when I talk about Donald Trump's health, and it's nobody's business. It's none of your business how healthy the president is. It's Donald Trump's own personal information. That is untrue, and you should not think that to be the case. Donald Trump owes the American people transparency relative to his health, so we don't end up in another situation like we had in this country with Woodrow Wilson, who was catatonic. He was in a coma, and his wife was running the country, currying documents back and forth to Congress while marionetting Wilson in the White House bed, who was, again, not the functional president of the United States. And it took a generation or so for us to come up with the 25th Amendment of the Constitution, which dealt with succession in the case of a president not being able to follow through on the duties. So here's Donald Trump on Air Force One being asked about this and giving lie after lie and not being transparent about his health, talking about his recent MRI that should alarm us all.
The readout from Walter Reed mentioned advanced medical imaging. Did you get an MRI? Can you tell us what that was?
I did. I got an MRI. It was perfect. Yeah. I mean, I gave you the full results. We had an MRI, and in the machine, the whole thing. Yeah. And it was perfect. Yeah.
Can you say what in particular?
You could ask the doctors. In fact, we have doctors traveling with us, but I think they gave you a very conclusive. Nobody has ever given you reports like I gave you. And if I didn't think it was going to be good, either I would let you know negatively, I wouldn't run, I'd do something, but the doctor said some of the best reports for the age, some of the best reports they've ever seen.
Those things don't line up. What's the reason for the scan? I believe that's Peter Doocy, the wonder Nepo baby over at Fox News, Steve Doocy, the morning shock jock TV host. It's his son asking the question. Donald Trump doesn't answer the question while saying, well, you could ask the doctors. Doctors can't give that information. They're not able to just, of their own accord, based on the question from a reporter, give Donald Trump's personal health information, and he knows that. So he just says, well, you can ask the doctors, while not giving the information. We have a right to know as Americans the health of our president, the health of our leaders. It is something that is owed to us. For him to say that you can ask the doctors and then say, nobody has given you reports like I have given you. You're not giving us reports, Donald Trump. You're a liar. You're concealing from the American public vital information about your health struggles that you're clearly having right now. Because if you weren't having health struggles, if there weren't alarm bells in your physician staff, in their heads and with their expertise, you wouldn't be having MRIs. MRIs are not preventative. MRIs are to categorize what is happening currently with your health, to find a tumor or some other kind of ailment. That is the problem here. Now, again, Jonathan Reiner, he's an MD. He works for CNN as a consultant or a contributor, and he was asked by Sarah Seidner about this, and I think his comments are very, very eye-opening.
Joining me now, CNN medical analyst, Dr. Jonathan Reiner. Most of us do not get an MRI as part of a normal physical. Aren't they typically used to detect things like strokes and aneurysms and tumors? I mean, do you have any clues as to why the president would have gotten an MRI?
You're right, Sarah. It's not part of a routine screening examination. There's been really a lack of candor coming from the White House about this. When they announced that the president would visit Walter Reed at the beginning of this month, they initially said it was for his annual checkup. But when they were reminded that that's not due until April, they said, okay, it's for a routine semi-annual checkup. But just physical exams are done in the White House. The White House has a prodigious testing capacity. And the president and vice president go to Walter Reed for testing that is not available at the White House, something like a CT or, as we now hear, an MRI. The big question is, what prompted his MRI? So what symptoms were they concerned about? What particular type of MRI was performed? Was it a brain MRI? Was it a cardiac MRI? Was it an MRI of his spine, of his prostate? What prompted a concern that would take him in a relatively unscheduled way to Walter Reed for this testing? Why didn't they tell us that? Why didn't they disclose that he was tested when Dr. Barbarella issued his report after the president's visit? And now, why won't they tell us exactly what was tested, why the testing was performed, and the results? I think without that, then there's really no trust.
That's it. Something prompted the test. What prompted the test? What prompted the need, the necessity for an MRI for our 80-year-old ailing, failing cognitively president of the United States? What was it? We are owed that information. There is zero transparency, and where there is zero transparency, there is zero trust to be had. And this goes, if you are going to be giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt, and this goes for everybody, even the MAGA trolls in my audience, why would we give the benefit of the doubt to the guy who said that they weren't going to touch the East Wing, that they were going to build the palatial ballroom next to it, and then now there is no more East Wing of the White House? He's a liar about everything, big and small. He is a liar. He's acting as though he got a clean bill of health, which should lead you to believe, based on everything we know about Donald Trump, that he is not in tip-top shape. There is something gravely, seriously wrong in his health. Not just in his brain health, his mental health, his cognitive state, but his physical health as well. I would love to know what you think about this. Let's have a conversation in the comments, whether that be over on Facebook or on YouTube. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.
When competing in sporting events, any athlete will tell you it's all in the training and the preparation. Exercises, supplements, vitamins, regimens, they all work in concert to aid an athlete's performance. Why should you treat a night out any differently? Just like a sporting event, an evening with drinks is at base also a feat of endurance sometimes. Why not prepare yourself the same way you would for any sporting activity? Prep like a professional with Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic specifically invented by PhD scientists to handle those tough mornings after you've been drinking. With pre-alcohol, you have a surefire way to wake up feeling refreshed after a night of drinking. Score 15% off your first order with ZBiotics now. Just click the link in the description below. In your body, the alcohol you drink is converted into a toxic byproduct your gut isn't naturally designed to break down. It's this byproduct and not dehydration that's to blame for your rough next day, despite all the water that you're drinking. ZBiotics pre-alcohol produces an enzyme that breaks this byproduct down. So if you make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night and drink responsibly, your gut will be set up for success the following day. You owe it to your morning self to fold ZBiotics into your regimen, especially since they offer a 100% money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied for any reason, ZBiotics will refund your money, no questions asked. You can't lose. Preparation is the key to both endurance and recovery. Access 15% off of your first order of pre-alcohol by clicking the description link below. Keep yourself in super social shape with ZBiotics.